Hashtag Get to February podcast. Morning recap without benching offense.
Wake up and get to the bag, god damn it. Lord woke us up, we might as well get to this bag. Now, Mayorkas survives another day after the vote yesterday was a failed attempt to impeach him because of spineless, wet towelette motherfuckers like these two who changed their vote. And when asked why, they give the most politically correct mumbo jumbo that you ever heard. This man, Mayorkas, is incompetent. It's obvious. Even Democrats can tell. But these guys switched their vote. And this is why I say the Republican Party is weak. Even with the Dems screwing a lot of things up, they're weak. They don't know when to be strong. They don't know when to be stern. They don't know when. They don't know when. They don't know when to read the room. They don't. This is ridiculous. This was a layup. It didn't even get past the first step. How? With this ridiculous bill. Let's look at the bill. New bill grants President of the United States DHS authorities to shut down the southern border when it encounters over 5,000 over a 7-day period, non-mandatory. That was 4,000. Over 5,000 in a 7-day period, mandatory, and 8,500 in 1-day period, and that's mandatory. Now, if you know, we're getting about 3,000 to 4,000 crossings. So all they did was say, like, yeah, if it gets so bad where it's doubled, we'll shut it down. But if it's still the influx that it's been, around 3,000 to 4,000, we'll pretty much leave it the way it is. How is this better? How is this better? Now, let's look at all the money allocated in this bill. Out of $118 billion, $90 billion goes outside of America. Ukraine, Israel, you name it. Okay? Bipartisan citizen group reaches a deal on the border security and foreign aid. Border security was first in that, and foreign aid was after, when really it's a foreign aid bill with elements of border security. Alright, so they're going to end the practice of catch and release. Duh, because they're catching them and literally releasing them into the country. Okay, they're going to raise qualifications for asylum seeking, which, I mean, I guess, alright, that's a plus. I mean, could be a little more stern in there and really explain what do you mean by that, all right? And then expedite approval and denial process of asylums for asylum cases. Now, that could be good or bad. That could mean they're going to grant people more asylum that are waiting, or they could deny. So I'm thinking this administration, more people going to be granted asylum. We talking about 42 billion Ukraine, 14 billion Israel, 10 billion humanitarian efforts in Gaza, 5 billion. You get $1 billion, you get 20 billion, you get 30 billion. What the hell is this? Oprah in the early 2000s? This is ridiculous. Out of 118 billion, 90 billion don't stay here. It goes there, everywhere. Why would they sign this nonsense? Why would they sign this trash? They basically say if the border problem doubles, we'll shut it down. It's mandatory. And oh yeah, that funding, you'll get what? 10% of the funding in the bill, if that? This is ridiculous. They don't impeach Mayorkas, and then they try to push this on people, and then they got the nerve to get on TV and say the Republicans want an open border. Listen, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has been standing on business since he got in. He said it himself. This is an effort to get votes. That's what the border open is about, getting votes. 2.4 million extra votes added. That's what they want. Because in New York and Vermont, they're making it where illegal immigrants, aka asylum seekers, can vote in local elections. That's the first step. That's the gateway drug. And then eventually it's going to be adopted in more blue cities. And then it'll go from local to national. They're already giving them places to stay, food stamps. Now they want to save money from the food stamps they're giving. And in New York, they talking about $53 million in prepaid cards to migrants. How do you think this makes Americans feel when they see this and they know they're paying for this? Mike Johnson said it on the record. This is about votes. They're trying to replace the voting base that they're losing. They know they're losing a significant grip on the black vote, even though they're still going to get a large population of the black vote. And they're losing their young college base that they radicalized because of the war in Gaza between the group and Israel. Come on, man. Once upon a time in America, there was a profession that was highly regarded and important for society. That profession was called journalism. The profession was important because the press and freedom of speech is some of the strongest things in this country that you can almost say was the backbone of spreading information, okay? And true journalists throughout time have proven to be very crucial to society. Really going after the truth, the story, going above and beyond, not just selling narratives, propaganda. And I keep hearing, oh, this person's a journalist. Oh, that person's not a journalist. Oh, this person's a journalist. When you look at the work it takes to be classified as one, the credentials, there ain't many journalists out here. They're pundits, media personalities. You know what's real journalism? Going to a place like Russia and getting an interview with Vladimir Putin when most American journalists will not even get the opportunity. They'll never even get the opportunity. Tucker Carlson tried to do this before and he was basically stopped by the American government. And this time is different. They went about it different this time. And the thing about it is, everyone's going to say on the left, oh, they're doing this because they're pro-Putin sympathizers and this, that, and the third. It's not about being pro-Kremlin or pro-Russia. It's about getting two sides to the argument. There's one side and there's another side. All we've been hearing is the American side and the Ukrainian side, which is one side. We ain't been hearing the other side. We ain't been hearing how things have been going from them specifically. Now we get that opportunity. It's about getting the information. What you do with it is your business. But it's nothing wrong with getting the information. That's journalism. Asking questions and listening after you ask questions more than just talking to get a response. Okay? So this interview is very big. It's a huge interview. Because for the first time, we're going to see an American journalist go over there and ask questions that you may want to hear the answer to. Without a narrative, okay? Without legacy media pulling the strings, you get information and you get to make the decision if the war in Ukraine is something you want to continue to fund. If it's better to focus more on peace now between the both sides. That's the opportunity we have with this interview that's coming up with Tucker and Vladimir Putin. This is the type of journalism they don't want. Because as long as they can sell you that Vladimir Putin is basically Lex Luthor and every villain known to man in any graphic novel mixed with any dictator in this world, you'll never really listen impartially and unbiasedly. You're always gonna have your own feelings about it. I can't wait for the interview so I can break it down. Until then, Man, get to the back.